Hello there. Welcome to Craft with Kathie. Tonight's project's going to be using the newly released oval simple shape that I painted with the Academia the other day and the Hippity Hop transfers. Can you guess what we're going to make with this? It'll be pretty easy. I'm going to actually make a colored Easter egg. So I have the oval already done and ready to go. The Hippity Hop transfer is actually 6 different images that are perfect for 5x5 frames, but I'm going to use one of the images tonight to put on the center of this oval. And isn't that Academia color absolutely stunning? The simple shape is wood, and I painted it in the same direction as the wood grain, and there's a little bit of difference in color based upon the grain of the wood. So it actually, painting it with the Academia was almost like using a type of a stain, but I think it turned out absolutely beautiful. What do you think? That nice deep jewel tone? Can't wait to get started with this. So let me take my transfers out of the package and cut them apart. As I said, there's 6 different images in the Hippity Hop transfer. And right now, by the way, Transfer Palooza is going on where you could buy 3 transfers and get 1 free. But to make it even more wild, like a sale on steroids, the Easter transfers are 50% off. So you can get Hippity Hop and a whole bunch of other Easter, religious, or spring transfers for 50% off right now while they last. And you can mix that up or include it with the Transfer Palooza. So it's a great deal. Hop on over and check it out. I'll put the link in my description below. So I'm going to remove this from the cellophane packaging. I had a little bit of a problem finding where the flap was. I don't know why tonight. And then cut it into its individual pieces. I'm thinking that I'm going to go probably bright white and gold for my chalk paste colors on this. If you're not familiar with our chalk paste, it is actually made from chalk, totally different thing from chalk paint. And on many surfaces it is removable, allowing you to use the surface over and over and over again. And if you haven't seen our transfers, think of them as kind of like special stencils. They're vinyl and silk screen. What you're seeing as white is actually this, you're seeing through the silk screen to the backer sheet behind this transfer, and they're reusable 8 to 12 times or more. They are adhesive backed, which makes them really easy to position. And just think of it, no weeding, no playing with a machine. It's just cut them apart if they need to be cut apart and get right down to it. So it's a real simple way of doing some do-it-yourself type of home decor and more without adding to a lot of equipment that you might need with other approaches. What do you think of the hop to it with the carrots? Aren't those adorable? I'm going to be using the Happy Easter for the center of this with the bunnies. And I'm thinking, do I want the bunnies to be white or gold? Not quite sure what direction I want to go with that. The Academia pairs very well with gold. It looks very rich and very pretty. So I definitely wanted to incorporate that. If you find this video to be entertaining, useful, or beneficial to you in some way, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. I surely would appreciate it. I'm going to actually use parts of this transfer in 5x5 frames. I think they'll make a nice little Easter decor that'll be easily to set out on like an entryway table or my bookcase or even the wall. They'll work fine. And we have some double-sided box frame surfaces that are actually perfect for this. But yes, I'm going to be using the Happy Easter. I actually used the chalk paste, the new Academia that's only available this month. It's our color of the month. I used it to paint my shape, the simple shape, which is kind of like it's a wood and it's whitewashed. So when I use chalk paste to paint with it, I need to thin it down with a little bit of distilled water so that it's a better consistency to paint with. And I did put 2 coats on it, and then I let it dry. And even though I haven't included it in this video, I wanted you to know that I did wax the surface. Anytime I'm using a transfer on a wooden surface, I put a layer of our surface wax on it, rub it in, and then basically rub it off. And that's what I did. Now here I'm taking the transfer that I'm going to put in the center. I'm peeling it off of its backer sheet. And that teal cloth that I'm applying it to is actually called a fuzzing cloth. If you don't have a fuzzing cloth, you can use a sweater, a towel, a pair of jeans, anything that's going to deliberately leave a little bit of lint on the back of the adhesive back transfer. And I do that to diminish the stickiness a little bit. I don't want it to be, especially when the transfers are brand new, they're very sticky. So I don't want it to stick or attach as snugly as it would otherwise. Our transfers can be used on all different types of surfaces. They could even be used on cloth. You could use them on wood, on metal, on mirror, on chalkboard, dry erase board, fabric, ceramics, glass, windows. I can go on and on. Depending upon what type of surface you are putting your transfer on, though, you want to fuzz it a different amount of times. Anything that is non-porous and very smooth, you want to fuzz a little bit more, because you don't want it to stick so snugly that it's difficult to lift the transfer off of the surface. Because the transfers are made of vinyl and silkscreen, you can kind of think of them like a fabric, and if you pull or tug on the bias especially, you could stretch or distort them. But really they're tougher than they look. Now I had a suggestion to do the bunnies in Mauvelous paste, which is a pink colored chalk paste, and I thought that was a wonderful idea. So here I am running with it. Those bunnies are adorable, don't you think? All I'm doing is applying the chalk paste to the top of the transfer and then lightly using a silicone squeegee to spread the paste over the silkscreen. You don't really have to put any effort to actually pushing it through. It'll go through the silkscreen to the surface beneath it. So I'm just smoothing it out, making sure there aren't any lines, and removing the excess paste, which I'll then put back in the jar. I'm going to take a little peek at my image. Isn't that adorable? Such a sweet little rabbit. Some of our paste colors come in what's called shimmer. The shimmer pastes add a little bit of sparkle or glimmer to whatever you use them on. They're not quite like glitter. They're actually smaller little pieces and you don't feel them. It's not like it's gritty or anything. It's smooth, but when the light catches it, they will add some shine and sparkle to whatever they're used on. And basically the process is exactly the same. Apply the paste, smooth it over the silkscreen, remove any lines and any excess paste, put it back in the jar, no sense wasting it, and then lift up your transfer for a beautiful peel and reveal. Let me get the top wording here. Oh, look at that, looks pretty good. Easter came through nice and clear. I always like to check to make sure that I have my letters fully covered. Sometimes I miss the top or the bottom a little bit, so I just always like to check it before I fully remove the transfer. So now I'm just going on to the word happy and basically doing the same thing. It really is very, very simple. If you can butter toast, you can chalk. Now remember, this is chalk paste, not chalk paint. You never want to use chalk paint on your transfers because it will ruin them. Our chalk paste is water soluble. So once I'm done using this transfer, I can clean it. The easiest way to clean your transfers is over at the sink, and with a spray it works really, really well. But I'll get into some other methods a little bit later in this video. There's the beautiful peel and reveal. What do you think? Oops, looks like I made a little mistake there. I missed the bottom of the second P, and actually a tiny bit of the first one. But no problems, no worries, it's easy enough to fix. Once I'm done, once I've cleaned the transfer, I can lay it back over it. Once it's clean and dry, lay it back over and just chalk right over and fix that mistake. Mistakes are so easily rectified using our chalk paste. It really makes things so much simpler. I'm going to add some additional designs to this Easter egg using a different transfer. This one's called Simple Shapes Frames, and it's actually specially designed to coordinate with our different simple shapes. I'm showing right now our rectangular shapes, and notice that the rectangle with the dots fits perfectly on that shape. Also, the image to the right of the rectangle with the solid lines. I'm just going to use part of one of these transfers to add a little bit of embellishment to my Academia Blue Easter egg. But before I get into that, I'm actually going to clean this transfer on my table. Now, like I said, the best way to clean it is at a sink, or you could use like a little water bath in a tub or whatever, but I don't have a camera at my sink, so I'm going to actually clean this transfer at the table right now. I've spritzed the back and the front with a little bit of water, and I like using our board erasers to clean our transfers. If I'm doing it at the sink, I could actually massage the paste off with my fingers, but a lot of times we use a board eraser to do it. It makes it so much simpler and quicker. And I use the board eraser on the top of the transfer, not on the adhesive side. Here's, I'm using a board eraser that I've cut into 4 pieces, and I'm just wetting it and then running it over the transfer. And look at how it so easily pulls up that paste. It's almost all cleaned up already. Simple, simple, simple. Now I'm going to take a disinfecting wipe and wipe off any remaining chalk paste on the surface. And once I have the top or the surface of the transfer cleaned, I'm going to flip it over and clean the chalk paste off of the back. This is the adhesive side. So first I'm going to remove all the chalk paste, and then once I have the paste off of the transfer, then I usually go in one direction with my disinfecting wipe and wipe off the lint that was deliberately applied with the fuzzing cloth. This will allow you to renew the stickiness or the adhesive of the transfer. And that's pretty much all there is to cleaning it. Set it aside to dry, laying on a flat surface, adhesive side up. Once it's dry, you can put it back in a cellophane wrapper for storage for the next use, because remember, our transfers are reusable 8 to 12 times or more. I'm taking my simple shape frame transfer and cutting out the image that I want to use to embellish this Easter egg. I'm going for the rectangular dots. So let me cut it out of the other piece, or away from the other pieces, so that it makes it a little bit easier to use. And I'm just cutting it using my transfer trimmers on the solid white cut lines. I use the transfer trimmers because they have an extra long blade and they have a coating that eliminates the adhesiveness of the transfer from sticking to the scissor blades. That way I don't have to clean them constantly. Make short work of cutting anything out. So now I'm going to take this rectangular simple shape frame transfer, and fuzz it so that I could use it on my oval Easter egg. I guess I'm using it in a very non-traditional way, but I think it works. If you'd like to check out any of these products, the oval simple shape or the transfers, or look at Transfer Palooza or the items that are 50% off right now, I'll put the links in the description below for you. I think I'll use my gold shimmer paste on this. That way it'll coordinate with the wording. So now that the transfer's been fuzzed, I can apply it to my oval. Just want to make sure that it's in alignment with the wording, that it's straight. Trying to decide how high up I want to start my row of dots. Just pressing it down. And then I'm going to take my squeegee and apply the paste. I'm sorry. Laptop battery went out, and along with it my other light, so I apologize for the somewhat dim lighting here. So I've just applied the transfer. I've added the chalk paste, and I've got a row of dots basically. Now if I work quickly, I could use this transfer, align it to the bottom, or align it beneath the first row of dots, and apply a second. The chalk paste is still wet in the transfer, so if I work very quickly, I can apply another row or two of dots without having to wash the transfer in between. I want to do it before the chalk paste dries, so I'm working rather quickly here. Apply the paste, smooth it over, remove the excess, lift the transfer. And as you can see, that worked fine. So I'm going for row number 3. Why not, right? And basically the same process. Apply the transfer. I think this is all that I'm going to get out of it. I'm going to have to wash it before I do much more. Let me move that up a little bit. Apply the paste, smooth, remove, and lift up the transfer. Well, that went so easily. Why not add the same thing to the top of the egg? So I'm going to turn it around, turn my egg around, and I do apologize for the glare, and then do the same thing on the top. Now that I've finished adding the row of dots or circles or whatever to the top, I'm going to actually go on to the repair work that I need to do on my lettering, where I missed the bottom of the P's and the Happy Easter. So let me get that transfer back out here and finish this up. I need to, it's not quite dry yet, so I'm going to use a technique to speed dry it. I have my fuzzing towel up on the table, microfiber side up. I lay the transfer on top, sticky side up, and then I folded it over to basically dry any moisture that remained in the transfer. Now I'm applying it to the fuzzing towel to once again fuzz it. Then I'm going to lay it over my egg, position it over the letters that I've already chalked, and re-chalk just the bottom of those 2 letters where I missed the actual bottom edges. I want to make sure that it's aligned properly, get it right where it needs to be, and then press it down. I only have to press down around the area that I'm going to be chalking. grab my gold shimmer paste, paste over the bottom of my piece. I want to check it out. There you go. How quick was that for a nice little fixing of an oops? Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. See you soon.